For the National Basketball Championships, part of the NIRSA Championship Series, I'm David Peters with a look at the information that our teams, players, coaches, spectators, and followers need to be ready for the upcoming National Basketball Championships at NC State University in Raleigh, North Carolina. Coming up in this podcast, we're going to talk about where to go, where we'll be playing those games, and where to park to make sure that you're not getting a ticket when you come over to play your games on tournament weekend. Team and player check-in once you arrive and before every game, how to do that. Playing rules, a couple of changes to the National Federation rules that we'll be using throughout the tournament so that we can keep our games on schedule. Tournament format, including pool play and our single elimination championship tournament, how you can move out of pool play and get into that all-important single elimination bracket. Awards and special events will be happening throughout the weekend. We'll tell you how you can earn awards or be part of our special events and social media and game highlights. How can your followers, if they're not in Raleigh, follow along, see how you're doing throughout the weekend? We have a number of ways that they can do that online. First of all, let's get you on campus at NC State, show you where we're playing those games and where you'll park for the tournament. Carmichael Complex is part of the campus recreation and university recreation program there at NC State. It is located really right in the heart of campus. It's just to the west of Reynolds Coliseum, and then here's the parking deck, which is to the east of Reynolds Coliseum, right there on the main campus, where you'll be parking your vehicle. So to get there, you can do it two ways. From the north side off of Hillsborough Road, which kind of runs on the north side of campus, from downtown, you'll make a left right at the bell tower, right here onto Pullen Road, and that'll take you towards the parking deck. We'll talk about getting into the right side of the deck in just a second. From the south side, you'll be on Western Boulevard. This kind of comes over from the interstate, and then on the south side, you can make a left here onto Morrill Drive, and Morrill will take you over to Carmichael, or you can continue on and make this left down here onto Pullen Road. Either way, you're aiming for this parking deck. We want to make sure that you get into the right side of the parking deck, because if you enter the wrong entrance, it's a pay lot. So let's get into the free spaces instead, so you won't have that trouble during your tournament play. So here's that parking deck once again. I mentioned Pullen Road, so from the north or from the south, you can be on this road. You're going to make a left and then head on over towards the parking deck here, and you want to enter on Jeter Road, which is right here. It's make a left and come in off Jeter, or you can come in off Jensen, which is on this side, and it's kind of a one-way all the way around. You do not want to enter, however, on the south side down here off of Cates, because that is where it is a pay lot. So make sure you're entering on one side here, the west side or the east side. Those are the free locations. We'll have some signs out there, but make sure you're targeting this particular parking lot. You'll just jump right out of the deck and head on over to Carmichael Gym, which is right past Reynolds Coliseum. And in fact, you'll head for this little breezeway right here. That'll get you in to the gym area where the courts are, where check-in is, and where you'll be ready to go for your tournament experience. In fact, let's take a look at those court locations. We have quite a few at NC State. We have courts 2 through 8 in our main gym area here at Carmichael, and then right up the road, right next door, are courts 9 through 11. So as I mentioned, here is that breezeway right here. So if you're walking up the road, you'll just make a left into the breezeway. You'll see it when you get there, and that's where you'll actually enter for most of the registration. And most of our games here are in courts 1 through 8. However, we do have some scheduled up here in 9 through 11. That's just, again, right up the road a little bit, make a left. And you'll be able to get in there for some of the pool play games, and some of our single elimination tournament games will be there on Saturday. Other information you need to know about Carmichael, well, the restrooms, always important. They're located across the breezeway in the physical education building, so we'll be able to direct you to those if you're in courts 1 through 8. If you're up at courts 9 through 11, we have restrooms right there located at that building. Also, athletic training services are available at both facilities, located on court 2 in the main gym, then on court 9 up in the satellite facility for courts 9 through 11. And the one thing we don't have very much of at NC State is spectator seating. We have crammed in as many courts as possible, which means not much room for folks to sit, certainly bench room for players. But if you're bringing some spectators along, I recommend a cushion, perhaps maybe a tailgating chair or something to that effect, so they can have a place to sit and enjoy your games throughout the weekend. Now, check-in and registration, where to go? Well, the tournament and area information is available from our staff, so just see any one of the staff members there with a NIRSA Championship Series shirt on and also a name tag. They can help you with information about the tournament, or will direct you to information about the Raleigh area as you stay for the tournament weekend. But you want to make sure you get into court number 1, again, as part of the Carmichael Gym Complex, Friday between 1 and 5 for team check-in. So come on over. Registration forms, for the most part, are on our website now and should be completed and mailed in prior to arriving to the tournament. But if you need to check anything or maybe fill out a last-minute form, you can do that at team check-in, again, between 1 and 4 on court number 1 on the first day of the tournament. That's Tournament Friday. Now, player check-in before each game requires photo ID, so bring that photo ID. We prefer school ID or driver's license, and before every game you'll need that. So just have that ready. We'll make sure we check those in at each game site, and check-in begins 15 minutes prior to game time. So get there early, get that out of the way, and you'll have plenty of time to warm up and get a couple of layups in or free throws in before the game gets going. Please make sure that you bring at least one set of jerseys. If we have a problem with jerseys and we're going to need something else, or we have matching colors, we'll be able to assist you with that, but all teams should supply at least one set of jerseys. Eligible players are printed on the score sheet, and that comes from your registrations. You can't add players at the game site. If you have any questions about folks who need to be on your roster, you want to take care of that at the registration table located on court number 1, and also see a competition committee member to address any concerns you might have with your roster or anything else with regards to other players on other teams too. All right, let's talk tournament rules real fast. Again, we're following high school rules, National Federation, with a couple of variations. Our game clock will be 2 20-minute halves, and it'll be a running clock throughout the first and second half until the last 2 minutes of each half. So we get out of that 2-minute mark both in the first half and the second half. We'll use stop clock rules like a traditional high school game. You get 3 full timeouts per game, and we will use the bonus and double bonus free throw situations, so 1 and 1 on team fouls 7 through 9, 2 shots for team fouls 10 and above when appropriate. We do allow dunking, but only during the game. So don't practice those dunks beforehand. No dunking at halftime, no dunking post-game. And of course, hanging on the rim is not permitted. But if you'd like to put in a dunk during the game, that's absolutely all right. It'll count for 2 points. If we happen to have overtime, which has happened, in fact, we had a 5 overtime game 2 years ago in the tournament. Well, here's how overtime will work. It'll be played in all games when needed, a 3-minute period, and it starts with a jump ball. It's a running clock, once again, just like the first and second half, until the last minute of overtime. And in that final minute, the clock will stop, just like regular high school basketball. Timeouts for the second half, note, do not carry over to our overtime, but every team does receive 1 timeout, a full timeout, per overtime period. So you get a timeout in the first overtime. If we have to play another overtime, you'll get a timeout for that second overtime. Again, timeouts do not carry over in between periods. Player and team fouls, however, do. So if you've already fouled out, you don't get any extra chances to get any more fouls in the overtime, and we'll continue to shoot the bonus as necessary. And there is a 1-minute intermission in between our overtime periods. Sportsmanship is very important to us in everything we're doing in NIRSA, and that includes the National Basketball Championships. So respect your opponent and the game officials, because you can't play without those 2 vital teams out there joining you for the game. And remember also that you are representing not only yourself, but your institution here at the tournaments. We hope you'll be on your best behavior. We know it'll be high competition and high intensity, but remember, sportsmanship is certainly important to us. When we have problems with sportsmanship, certainly technical fouls may be what happens from our officials. Players who receive 2 technical fouls in a game, that results in ejection. We do track those technical fouls throughout the weekend, and so a player that receives 3 total in the tournament results in a disqualification. They're no longer allowed to play. A team that receives 4 technical fouls in a single game, that ends the game immediately to forfeit, and a team that receives 5 in the tournament throughout, that also results in disqualification on that 5th team technical foul. So let's just avoid those by remembering good sportsmanship. Unsportsmanlike ejections and forfeits require a meeting with our tournament committee. So if a player gets ejected or you end up having those 4 technical fouls in a game, you're going to have a meeting, the team captain or the player who has been ejected, with one of our tournament committee members or several of our tournament committee members to see how you can be reinstated for the rest of the tournament. If we have a problem with rules out there, maybe our officials handle something incorrectly, you do have a chance to call timeout and have a protest. You can do that no later than during the first dead ball after the problem has occurred. You just alert our game officials with a timeout for a correctable error review. If correct, we won't charge your team with a timeout. We'll make the change. We'll get it corrected. If you are not correct with your protest, a timeout is charged if you have one. If you do not have one left, it results in a technical foul. And again, that's for rule interpretations, but just like our teams, our officials have been qualifying to come to the national tournament. We have some of our best student officials from across the country here, so we really hope to avoid those challenges with regard to rules. They're certainly some of the top officials in the nation for our college level and intramural level. They're here at our tournament, so we're glad to have them working hard throughout the weekend. If you have a problem with player eligibility, I mentioned earlier that you want to see our tournament committee. We'll review that, but please make that eligibility protest at the time of discovery so we can make a prompt investigation on that matter. Pool play format. What will go on throughout the weekend? Well, we'll have a modified pool play to start our Friday, and it continues on into Saturday at the tournament. 4 teams per pool. The top 3 teams will advance to the playoffs. Essentially, you just need to win 1 of 2 pool play games. So in the first round, we have seeds 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3. And then in round 2 of pool play, the winners of those 2 games will play and the losers will play. So everyone who wins at least 1 game tends to make it on into the tournament. You can see the 2-0 team is considered the number 1 seed for the pool. They've certainly gone undefeated, so they've earned that right to be the number 1. And then for our 2 teams that are going to be 1-1, the team that won the first round game, so their very first game of the tournament, is considered the 2 seed, and then the other team is considered the 3 seed, or the team that wins the loser's game is considered the 3 seed out of this bracket. And again, the team that does not win is eliminated from pool play. We move into our tournament draw, and for our tournament draw, teams select positions in the playoff brackets. You're not automatically placed into a particular spot. In fact, you get an opportunity to select and maybe position yourself opposite the bracket from someone you don't want to play or against someone that you feel like you have a better chance of beating. That's all part of our tournament draw, which will occur on court number 1. At the conclusion of pool play, you'll see the times for the playoff draw listed on the tournament schedules and the pool play schedules. So just make sure that you have a representative, essentially the team captain, for at least a team representative present for that very important tournament draw when it occurs there on court number 1. Again, at the conclusion of pool play, we'll have the draw. We'll also announce our pool MVP, so it's a good opportunity for us to recognize those players who've had an exceptional couple of games during pool play. We'll honor those as well at that time. How does our tournament draw work? Well, the order of selection works like this. We have a blank tournament bracket up on the board with enough slots to accommodate all of the teams that have made it into the tournament round. Our number 1 seeds will all come up to the front, and then they randomly select a number, and we put them in order. So we'll have 6 pools. There'll be 6 number 1 seeds. They'll all randomly draw a number, and one of those top seeds will be the first choice. And they'll take the first choice in the bracket. They'll call out what they would like. We'll write them on in, and we'll move on to selection number 2, and they will take another blank spot on the bracket and continue on down through the number 1 seeds. The process simply repeats for the number 2 seeds, where everyone comes up to the front again. We redraw random numbers, and all the 2 seeds make a selection on the bracket, and then whatever is left over for our number 3 seeds. And again, they'll round out the selection same way. Random draw for the 3 seeds, and then they will select what's left up there on the tournament bracket. Tournament play is single elimination, and playoffs will begin on Saturday afternoon for all of our divisions. So again, you'll want to be there for that tournament draw, so you know exactly when you're playing, which will be later on in the afternoon. Championship games begin Sunday morning. They'll occur in Carmichael Gym with an awards presentation for our MVPs and our All-Americans. That'll occur immediately following each game. We have 1 MVP and 5 players in each division will be selected for the All-American Awards. Notice that any player assessed a technical foul for unsportsmanlike conduct immediately becomes ineligible for an award. So we also want not just good talent on the court, but that also means good sportsmanship too. As we move on, we'll talk about special events because you can win some awards and be honored for some good shooting or perhaps some good dunking. Our 3-point contest will occur on Saturday between 3 and 4:30 on court number 1. The dunk contest occurs Saturday beginning at 5 p.m. That's also on court number 1. You can register in advance on our website, or you can register at the registration table on court 1. But if you want to be a part, we want to make sure you get in there because spaces are limited. So the 3-point contest and the dunk contest, both Saturday afternoon, part of the National Basketball Championships. For more tournament information, including registration information and those forms I was talking about that you'll want to make sure that you filled out ahead of time, tournament rules, the complete rules and eligibility rules too, travel information, schedules and brackets, it's all available at the NC State website. That's at recreation.ncsu.edu/NIRSA. Again, that's for registration information and all kinds of tournament details located online. And you can also find information about our tournament hotels, the Holiday Inn, Best Western, Spring Hill Suites, Homewood Suites, and the Doubletree. All some of our tournament hotels. You can get rate information and link directly there to reserve a room right from our website. Again, recreation.ncsu.edu/NIRSA. And throughout the tournament weekend, news, photos, recaps, they're online. We'll be posting every hour the latest information that's going on at the tournament. And 2 places to get that, ncs.campusrec.com. We'll have game recaps, videos, photos, scores, and tournament brackets. We'll link you to all that information right from there. That's ncs.campusrec.com. Or honestly, just follow us on Twitter or on Instagram. We'll put the links up there that you need to get to. Go ahead and put us on your list now at NIRSA Champ, or you can also follow the hashtag NIRSA B-Ball. Either one of those will get you going on Twitter and Instagram throughout the weekend so that your followers back at home who can't make it to Raleigh can follow along and see how you're doing throughout the National Basketball Championships. And that's it. Please share this information with your teammates. We want them as prepared as you are as a team captain so that you're ready for a great tournament. On behalf of the NIRSA Championship Series, I'm David Peters. Good luck this year in Raleigh at the National Basketball Championships.